Hi, this is Destiny Wansowitz with the Pregnancy, Childbirth, and Holistic Healing channel. A while back, I posted a video of my son's home birth and it got a lot of curiosity, so I kind of wanted to touch on those topics because I love all things pregnancy and childbirth. I'm very educated on those subjects and I would love to share my knowledge with others. So as we go through this video, don't forget to comment below with any questions or comments that you have to share with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. So this video is going to cover the principles that I believe in and go by to have a successful, all-natural, unmedicated childbirth. Just for some background, I have 2 children with a third on the way. Both were born with midwives. The second one was a home birth, all natural, spontaneous vaginal deliveries that were unmedicated. And this baby on the way will also be a home birth. So there's a few things that I do in order to make sure that the birth that I have envisioned comes to life. So the first thing that I did is discover my why. I think that's very important, especially when you are in the thick of labor and things are getting tough, you're getting exhausted, and you just want to get to the end. You're going to need a reason to motivate yourself and push through. So my why is because I believe that women are made to have babies. Their body knows what to do and how to do it, and I think that's just, all natural, unmedicated is just the way that I do things. I also fully believe that having an unmedicated childbirth is the safest way to bring a child into the world. I wanted to bring my children into the world without any chemicals or medications in their body. So when you get interventions during labor, those chemicals like the epidural, Pitocin, things like that, they go into the baby as well. So I didn't want my children to be born with chemicals in their system. I wanted them to come into the world alert and all natural, just the way the earth intended. So that was really important for me. Obviously, a why is going to look different for everyone. Some people might not agree with my why because you're going to have your own why. But that is my why and why it's super important for me to have an all-natural, unmedicated childbirth. The second thing that I did was educate myself. Just educating myself on how my body works, the physiology of labor and childbirth, and just understanding why that happens and what happens. I believe that labor and childbirth are an innate process for a woman's body, and it's just something that your body knows how to do it and why it's doing it. But do you, as the mama, as the female that's going through it? So it was important for me to learn, what was going to be happening, what to expect, and why. I think that when you understand what's going on during your labor and during childbirth, it's easier to not fear it. I think the media easily portrays childbirth as this unnatural, scary medical event, and they push a lot of fear onto that. But when you understand what's happening to yourself, you don't fear that. And that can be, in regard to a lot of topics. But for this topic, I felt that if I understood it more, then I was accepting of it. Even for my first birth, I wasn't fearful of the impending labor and childbirth. I was excited because I knew that's what was going to bring my baby to the world, and I understood what it was going to be like or what to expect. So I think that when you educate yourself, it's easier to understand and easier to not fear the process. Also want to mention, my husband and I took the Hypno Babies home course. It's a hypnosis during childbirth course, and I didn't use the tracks or the discs that put you into hypnosis during my pregnancy to prepare, or during labor. I didn't use hypnosis. I just mainly used it for the course guide itself. It's very educational in regards to the physiology of labor and childbirth, and it taught both my husband and I a lot. Every night we would read that aloud with each other, and we both learned so much. So I highly recommend that for moms who are wanting an all-natural birth. Just, even if you don't want to do hypnosis during birth, use the guide for education itself. I am 4'6", and the only reason I mention that is because with my first child, I started out my pregnancy with an obstetrician, and I knew that I wanted a an all-natural vaginal unmedicated birth. And towards like the end, the third trimester of my pregnancy, she started telling me that obviously I was too small to have a vaginal delivery. I would need a C-section. And I remember skedaddling right out of that appointment that day and never returning. The reason I mention this story is because if I had not educated myself about my body and its capabilities, about the physiology of birth, about pelvic shapes and sizes, I may have fallen for that. I may have believed the things that she was telling me. And as someone who is super tiny, I may have stuck around and had a C-section, and maybe it could have changed my whole outlook on childbirth. But since I had educated myself, I knew that just because I was a shorter person, a petite person, didn't mean that my pelvic shape was wrong or bad for vaginal delivery, and it didn't mean that I wasn't capable of it, and that we wouldn't really know anything about that and its capabilities until I was in labor. But I had a positive mindset, and I believed in myself, and I knew that I could do it, and that's when I hired a midwife. So all that to say is, educate yourself and don't let someone bully you with misinformation. Obviously, I did go on to have 2 natural vaginal deliveries that were unmedicated, so obviously that was misinformation. So just be careful what you believe, educate yourself, research things, and I think you can't go wrong doing that. So the third thing that I did was get my mind right. That goes along with educating yourself. I think when you understand what's happening and why it's happening, you fear it less. And when you don't fear it, your mind can easily get in the right place. The fourth and last thing that I feel is super important when planning an unmedicated, all-natural vaginal delivery is to have a support system. My support system was my husband for my first birth, and then for my second one, it was my husband and my daughter. They were both present, and I think it was just super special. It made the experience that much more beautiful, having them there, because they were just super encouraging. They were reminding me that I was doing a great job. They were reminding me that I was safe. They were reminding me to eat and drink and keep my energy levels up, just refueling my body as I went through, this long labor. They were there to, give me hugs and encourage me and just love on me during one of the hardest things that I would ever do in my life. So I think that having a support system is super important, and that's going to look different for everyone. So it might be your doula, it might be your mom, it might be your aunt, your husband, your children. That's going to look different for everyone. For this upcoming birth, that's going to be my husband and my daughter and my son this time. For all of my births, it was just us. It was very intimate and private. And then when it was time to push, then the midwife was there. For the second one, we had a birth photographer there as well, but she was very respectful. She wasn't intruding. She just took pictures and did her thing in the background. But yeah, I think having a support system ready to go, some people that you love and trust and know will be encouraging to you, is super important. So just to recap, the 4 principles that I think are super important when planning an all-natural, unmedicated childbirth would be: 1, discover your why. Why is it important to you? 2, educate yourself on the physiology of childbirth and labor so that you're not fearful and you're understanding what's happening. 3, get your mind right. That's super important. Even if you're in a place where it's harder for you to do that, I think that even positive affirmations, having those around your house and reading those and believing in those over time is super helpful. I am brave. My body knows what to do. I am strong. I believe in my body's capabilities. Things like that. When you're telling yourself that over time, you will start to believe it. Your body will believe it. So getting your mind right is more challenging for you. I definitely recommend having positive affirmations around and saying those to yourself on a regular basis. And then the 4th and last one is just having a great support system there for you during your labor and your childbirth, because that makes everything that much more special and beautiful. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to the next one. Of course, leave any comments or questions in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.